Welcome back to another deep dive. This time we're tackling something I know a lot of people are thinking about as we head into the new year, leveling up your LinkedIn profile for 2025.
We dove into a whole stack of articles from experts, even a super comprehensive guide, and we watched this really interesting YouTube video packed with tips. And let me tell you, there is so much advice out there. It really is overwhelming. That's right. How do you even know where to start? But don't worry, that's where we come in. We went through it all and pulled out what we thought was the most helpful, the most actionable advice.
Definitely.
And I gotta say, there were some surprising takeaways. Even we didn't expect. Well, let's jump in. First things first, why does a truly great LinkedIn profile even matter?
Yeah, especially these days, right? It's not just about looking good. It's about being strategic. It's about using LinkedIn as a tool to reach your goals. So think of your profile as your online storefront. It needs to attract the right customers. In this case, that could be recruiters, potential clients, collaborators, future employers, you name it. And you know what's wild? LinkedIn's own data shows that people who are actively using the platform to build their brand and engage with their network, they call them social selling leaders, create 45% more opportunities than those who aren't.
Whoa, 45%. That's a huge difference.
It is.
Okay. So clearly we can't treat LinkedIn like it's just a digital resume. It's a dynamic tool. We've got to use it strategically.
Exactly.
But where do we even begin? There's so much to think about.
You know, one of the most important things is first impressions. Online, that starts with your profile picture. It really makes a difference. It's interesting, you know how our brains are wired to respond to faces? Even babies, when their vision is still developing, they prioritize faces above almost everything else.
So you're saying even if someone just glances at my picture for a split second?
They're already forming judgments, yeah.
Wow, I never really thought about it like that.
It's subconscious, but it happens. In that instant, they're making assumptions about your competence, your trustworthiness, even your personality. So like a blurry selfie or a photo from that crazy vacation 5 years ago. Probably not the best choice.
Yeah, good point. Time to invest in a professional headshot then.
Definitely. Good lighting can make all the difference in the world.
What about clothes? Like, what should I wear?
I'd say think work ready, you know, what you wear to a casual office day. Professional, but not too stuffy.
Gotcha. Now, what about the background photo? Does that even matter?
It can. It's like setting the stage for your professional story, right? So if your company provides branded images, those are great. But if you're a freelancer or entrepreneur, get creative. Showcasing your workspace, the tools you use, or even just a really visually interesting image that represents what you do can add a personal touch and communicate your brand.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. So we've got the visual first impression covered. What about that headline space? You know, that little space under your name. I feel like a lot of people just stick with their job title, but it seems like a missed opportunity.
It totally is. Your headline is prime real estate for showcasing what makes you unique. So instead of just saying marketing manager, why not think about what problems you solve, who you help, and use keywords that recruiters are actually searching for?
So basically think of it like a mini billboard. Grab attention and make people want to learn more.
Exactly. One of the experts we read actually suggested this formula, your professional identity, helping target audience achieve desired outcome. So for example, content strategist, helping B2B SaaS companies drive organic traffic and leads.
Oh, that's catchy. It tells a whole story in just a few words.
Right. And another approach is specializations, like UX designer specializing in accessible design for mobile apps. It all depends on your goals and who you're trying to reach.
So many possibilities. All right, we've tackled the visuals. Now what about that dreaded about section? So many profiles I see have these boring, generic summaries like a robot wrote them.
Yes. No one wants to read a laundry list of job duties.
Totally. The About section is your chance to tell your professional story in a way that's both informative and de-engaging. Think of it as a micro pitch.
So connecting on a human level and making people want to learn more.
Exactly. One of the experts we found, she talked about her passion for helping women break into the tech industry. She shared a personal anecdote about her own journey, which made her story really relatable and inspiring.
Oh, I like that. So instead of just listing skills, you show how those skills have made a difference.
Right. And another expert focused on the problems he solves for his clients. He used a really conversational tone, almost like he was talking directly to the reader, which made him sound approachable and genuine.
So we've covered the visuals and the about section. Now, what about the experience section? Do I really need to list every single job I've ever had?
That's a great question. Well, it's good to have a comprehensive work history. You don't have to go into every single detail,
Okay.
especially if it's not relevant to your current goals. Like if you spend a summer waiting tables in college and you're now a software engineer,
Probably not that relevant.
probably not adding much value.
So it's about being strategic and focusing on the experiences that tell a cohesive story.
Precisely. And within each role, don't just list duties, but quantify your accomplishments. Numbers speak louder than words. So instead of manage social media accounts, you could say grew social media following by 30% in 6 months, or developed a social media strategy that resulted in a 15% increase in website traffic.
Oh, much more impactful. Now, that YouTube video we found, it had this fascinating point about keyword density. Can you explain that a bit more?
Yeah, it's all about how LinkedIn's algorithm works. The platform cares about how often relevant keywords appear on your profile. So, while you don't want to stuff your profile with keywords in a way that sounds unnatural, you should use every opportunity to weave them in organically.
So it's not just about having the right keywords. It's about using them strategically.
Exactly. And that includes your education section too. That's where the evil question technique comes in.
Okay, now I'm intrigued. What's the evil question technique?
It's a sneaky way to add more relevant keywords. Instead of just listing your degree in university, think about the skills you developed during your studies. So, for example, under your degree, you could add a line like, focused on relevant skill 1, relevant skill 2, and relevant skill 3.
So if someone's searching for those specific skills, my profile's more likely to show up.
Exactly. Right. And it doesn't look forced or unnatural. You're simply providing more context.
Clever. Okay, so we've covered a lot about crafting a killer profile, but I know it's just the foundation, right? To really make LinkedIn work for you in 2025, you need to be an active participant.
Absolutely. Building a great profile is like setting up a beautiful storefront, but if you never open the doors or engage with potential customers,
No one's gonna know you're there.
exactly.
So how do we translate that to the LinkedIn world? What are the keys to active engagement?
Well, one of the most important things is to share relevant content from your feed and add thoughtful comments. This helps you stand out, it demonstrates your expertise, and it helps you build relationships with people in your industry.
So not just hitting that like button.
Nope, actually adding value to the conversation.
Got it. And following influencers in our industry, that's a good one too.
It is. It's a great way to curate your content and show that you're plugged into what's happening. And of course, don't be a ghost. Connect with people in your network regularly. Keep those connections active.
Absolutely. Send personalized connection requests. Engage with people's posts. Offer to help whenever you can. Remember, networking is a two-way street. And maybe most importantly, don't be afraid to let your personality shine through. People connect with people, not robots.
Authenticity is key. Show your human side. Don't be afraid to share your passions and interests.
Okay, so we've laid the groundwork for a killer profile and talked about the importance of active engagement. Now, what about those lesser-known features or strategies? The ones that can really make a difference?
Oh, you mean like the hidden gems? Yes.
Exactly. I'm super curious about those.
There are a bunch, actually. Let's start with the skills and endorsement section. It often gets overlooked, but it can be a really powerful way to signal your expertise, both to humans A and D, to the LinkedIn algorithm.
I'll admit I've always just kind of thrown some skills in there without much thought.
Yeah, a lot of people do. But think about it this way. If you were walking into a job interview, what are the top 3 to 5 skills you'd want to emphasize?
Okay, the ones that are most relevant to the job I'm applying for.
Exactly. Those are the skills that should be front and center on your profile.
So it's about aligning my chosen skills with the opportunities I'm seeking?
Precisely. And don't just choose generic skills. So instead of project management, consider skills like agile methodologies or Scrum framework, if those are relevant to your work.
Got it. Be specific. Now, what about endorsements? How do I get people to actually endorse me for those skills?
Don't be afraid to ask. Reach out to colleagues, clients, even former classmates, anyone who's seen you demonstrate those skills firsthand. A simple message like, "Hey, Naeem, I'd really appreciate it if you can endorse me for skill on LinkedIn. You know how much I value your opinion." Something like that can go a long way.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like asking for a reference, but way less formal.
Exactly. And of course, you should always be willing to reciprocate, endorse others in your network for skills you've seen them demonstrate.
Right, pay it forward. It's all about building that community of support. Speaking of support, what about recommendations? Those are like gold, right? Like having someone vouch for your work ethic and expertise?
They can make a huge difference. But here's the thing. You can't just sit back and wait for them to magically appear.
Okay, so be proactive about it.
Exactly. Think about people you've worked closely with. Colleagues, clients, mentors, even professors. When you reach out, be specific about the types of projects or experiences you'd like them to highlight, and maybe even offer to write a recommendation for them in return.
That's a great idea. It's always good to show reciprocity. Now, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about LinkedIn's job search function. It's a powerful tool that a lot of people don't use to its full potential. I definitely use it to browse jobs, but are there any hidden features or strategies I should know about?
Absolutely. One tip is to save your searches and set up alerts. So that way you're notified when new jobs that match your criteria are posted. Think of it like having a personal job hunting assistant working for you 24/7.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. I had no idea you could do that.
Super helpful. And don't forget about the Careers tab. This is where you can browse through thousands of companies that are actively hiring. You can learn about their culture, their values, and open positions all in one place.
So much more than just a job board. I'm inspired to go check that out right now.
Definitely do. Now, another feature that I think is really underutilized is the featured section. This is where you can showcase your best work, whether it's an article you wrote, a presentation you gave, a project you're particularly proud of.
Oh, like a mini portfolio right on my profile.
Exactly. And you can update it regularly with fresh content.
Love that idea. Speaking of updates, let's talk about the Open to Work banner. I've heard mixed opinions about whether or not it's a good idea to use it. What do you think?
It's definitely a double-edged sword. While it can signal to recruiters that you're actively looking, it could also raise questions with your current employer.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you're happily employed but maybe passively exploring opportunities, it might not be the best strategy. But if you're unemployed and actively seeking a new role, it can be really helpful.
Okay, so use it with caution.
Exactly. It all depends on your individual circumstances. Speaking of broadcasting, have you ever considered using creator mode?
I've seen the option, but I'm not really sure what it does or who it's for.
It's basically a setting that shifts your profile's focus from networking to content creation. It gives you access to features like LinkedIn Live, audio events, newsletters, and it changes the default action on your profile from connect to follow.
So instead of focusing on building a network of direct connections, I'm encouraging people to follow my content and engage with my ideas.
Exactly. Perfect for thought leaders and personal brand builders.
Got it. But what if I'm new to LinkedIn and still building my network?
Hold off on creator mode for now. Focus on those two-way connections first, then consider switching once you have a solid foundation.
Solid advice. Now, are there any features or strategies specifically for people who want to use LinkedIn for more than just job searching? You know, like building a community around a passion project or side hustle?
Absolutely. LinkedIn is not just for your 9 to 5. You can absolutely use it to showcase your interests and skills outside of work. Start by creating a compelling About section that highlights your passions and side projects.
So it's like creating a separate professional identity for that part of my life.
Exactly. And join relevant groups related to your passion project. It's a fantastic way to connect with like-minded people, learn from experts, and share your own insights.
I love that idea. Networking with a purpose.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to share your work. Post updates about your progress, share articles or videos you've created, invite feedback. You never know what kind of opportunities or collaborations might come your way.
It's all about being proactive and putting my passion out there for the world to see.
Exactly. And remember, LinkedIn's algorithm rewards engagement. So the more you interact, the more visible your profile becomes.
That makes sense.
So whether we're using LinkedIn to job hunt, build our personal brand, launch a side hustle, the key is to be intentional, authentic, and engaged. And don't be afraid to experiment. Try out different features. Engage with your network. Analyze your results. Refine your approach as you go.
Such good advice. Wow, we really covered a ton of ground today, from the basics of profile optimization.
We did. I hope you found it valuable and inspiring.
I know I did. I'm ready to unleash my inner LinkedIn ninja, take my profile to the next level.
Remember, the journey doesn't end here. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep connecting.
Until next time. Happy networking!